Today's project is this old Broyhill agricultural sprayer. So let's roll the music and get started. This sprayer is a small 30-gallon model made by a company called Broyhill that still operates in Nebraska. Now, they do not make a unit that is this small any longer, so this one is a little bit unique and a little bit unusual. It's the perfect size for someone with a hobby farm, a large yard, or a small orchard, perhaps. This sprayer was actually used by my grandfather to maintain his small property, and it has sat unused for the last couple of years. So there's a lot of grime to get off of this thing to make it look shiny and new again. So we started with a foam bath and a nice pressure wash. Obviously, we want to make sure all of the hoses and all of the pump system are in good condition and that we don't have any leaks or anything going on that could cause a failure when we get pressure in the lines. So we're going to inspect the pump and the lines and all of the different operating parts of this unit to make sure that it is ready to serve someone else for many years to come. It's funny how the hoses on these hand sprayers are always crazy dirty and just get your hands filthy whenever you play with them. So I spent quite a bit of time just cleaning off this hose. I also wanted to make sure that the engine was nice and clean, so we foam cannoned the engine and gave the entire engine a good scrub down in all the nooks and crannies just to make sure that it looked clean and presentable again. Gave the frame a scrub as well as the pump assembly just to make sure that everything looks as nice as possible, and then gave it a nice pressure wash to clear all that dirt and grime that we broke free back off. Then it was time to remove the pump and give it a good service. So we removed the mounting bolts that hold the pump into place and pulled the pump assembly free. A lot of the hoses had taken a set, so when we put this back together, we're going to have to make sure that the hose ends are freshly cut and seal up well. With the pump off, you can see that the Lovejoy coupling has snapped a few ears, so we're going to have to repair that. And there was also antifreeze in the pump, so that's a good sign that this was winterized properly. Pull off the strainer, we find that the pump is a US assembled Hypro pump, which is rebuildable. So we're going to go ahead and clean out the inside of the pump in the parts washer, make sure that it is ready to be rebuilt with new rollers and new O-rings. Giving this pump a quick scrub in the parts washer was the quickest way to just make sure we had all of the gunk off of it so that it was ready for rebuilding. It was difficult to get all of the nooks and crannies clean in the parts washer, so then we also gave it a good scrub at the bench with paper towels and solvent as well. Pulled the old O-ring off, and surprisingly, it did not look too bad. There weren't any major cuts in it, and it was still quite pliable, but we have a fresh one, so we're going to put a new one on either way. Getting that new O-ring on there will make sure that the face of this pump seals nicely. We don't have any leaks while it's running, which is important. And then we put in brand new fresh rollers as well to ensure that it makes proper pressure. And then we slide the halves back together. Make sure that the top of the shaft is clean there so I don't mess up the seals. And with the two halves of the pump put back together, we found a new Lovejoy coupling to put on to replace the one that had the broken ears on it. Get that locked to the shaft, and then spend some time reassembling our pump assembly and tying everything back together. Sped this up quite a bit, save time, because it's a little bit boring just to watch me put a bunch of Teflon tape and pipe assembly together. So this unit is set up with a bypass regulator, so it will bleed off pressure by allowing fluid to go back into the tank. And we are putting a new bulkhead fitting on the bottom of the tank to allow this bypass regulator to mix the tank with the bypass flow to ensure that the tank stays well mixed when you're adding chemicals, whether they be solid or liquid. Here's the new bulkhead fitting so that we can feed the bypass in. Okay, so we have the inlet from the tank through a Hypro strainer, Hypro pump that we put new rollers in, into a double T with a shutoff for the hand sprayer and a long extension on this ball valve to turn the rack sprayer on, and our regulator valve here with a pressure gauge. And then the regulator valve feeds the bleed back into the bottom of the tank to recirc everything. So our bypass didn't have a directionality indicated on it or the box. I think it's on backwards. Okay. So I got the bypass regulator sorted out. So we're gonna retest and with Hypro, see how that does. Okay, so the boom, working great. Pressure regulator, doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I'm not getting anything out of the wand. I am getting flow out of the ball valve to the wand, so I think the trigger valve in the wand is broken. So we're gonna open that up, make sure that's kosher, and hopefully get it all working. Well, I got it apart. Good news and bad news. I found the clog. It's right there. Just a whole bunch of gunk in the end of the tip. But when I put my wrench on the hexes and gave it a twist, I just snapped it. So not ideal. I was taking it apart so I didn't have to go buy a new one. So that is unfortunate. But I found the problem. So yeah, I'll go get a new wand. So where we left off yesterday, I said I was gonna go to the farm store and get a new sprayer, hand sprayer for the sprayer. And I walked in to go get the keys for the car. And as I was walking out, I thought, I still have all the parts to make a sprayer. The only thing that's broken is the pipe. It's a real shame just to let those parts go to waste. So I have a drill press. I've got plumbing supplies, got a hacksaw. So I grabbed some 1/2-inch scrap, drilled out the brass fittings to the right size with the drill press, and then soldered in a piece of copper. It's not the most perfect solder job I've ever done. I used a little bit too much solder. But I think it's gonna hold. And I saved myself from having to put these parts in the trash and from buying another cheap sprayer that was probably just gonna break again. So, you know me, I like to try and save whatever I can and keep as little as possible from the scrap heap. So we're gonna see if this new, much more highly valuable sprayer now is gonna work for us. right. Sprayer works great. We've got good spray with no leaks out of the boom. We've got a good spray with no leaks out of the boom. We've got a good spray out of the handheld sprayer. I need to get a new O-ring for the tip because the tip isn't quite right. But with a new O-ring for the tip, we should be all set. So I'm gonna run to the hardware store, grab a new O-ring for that tip, and we're gonna get this thing listed for sale for somebody who can make good use of it yet this spring. So I think that's it. We'll take some montage footage of it getting pulled around with the tractor, and we'll move on to the next project finally. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. It's always fun to take old equipment and get it running like new again so that someone else can enjoy it. If you enjoyed this type of content, feel free to let me know. If you see anything that I could have done different or better, please let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to learn more. Have a great day.